So, these last few days of price action have been pretty strange. I think a lot of you would agree with that. And sometimes price action is strange. Sometimes price doesn't do what you think it's going to do, even if you're relatively confident in it, even if you have, multiple signs, multiple confirmations, whatever you want to say, giving you confidence in something happening. Sometimes price just does the opposite. And since the last video I made where I talked about this SFP, that is pretty much where I'd say the odd price action commenced because we just kind of have been grinding to the downside. Now, the reason I was so interested in this SFP here is because this was a significant market structure point. If you're looking at the 4-hour structure, you could even call it 12-hour structure, but this stuff here is kind of too jumbled up for me to call it structure. I mean, we went from the low to the high in 2 candles. I don't like that market structure. I'd prefer to look at it on a slightly lower time frame. But, going from like the high time frames down to like the 1 hour, this was a significant market structure point. And just kind of drawing out this structure, we had, broken this local bullish uptrend, and we came up to put in a significant lower high before coming down for this low. And at that point, it was looking like we were SFPing the low. And I believe I had, pretty good reason to believe that this SFP would be somewhat significant. Maybe it only brought us up to put in a lower high before a lower low. That's kind of what I was thinking, but I was pretty confident in us getting somewhat of a decent move off of this SFP because, one, we saw good confirmations for it. On the 1 hour, we saw divergence with momentum and money flow. This is usually a pretty strong sign on the 1 hour time frame. It's a decently high time frame. And when you see those confirmations as we SFP a significant market structure point, that is, typically pretty good signs. And we also had this area of inefficient price action right above us that I was essentially targeting. I was not expecting us to basically just lose this level. That was, in my opinion, the least probable scenario. But, sometimes the least probable scenario ends up playing out. And since then, we've, I guess on the 1 hour, you could say we've continued this downtrend where if you're looking at it like this, you could consider this somewhat of, market structure here. It's very jumbled up though, and when you zoom out to a higher time frame, you cannot see that market structure anymore. On the 4 hour, we've essentially put in just a lower high here and then a lower low. So on this 4 hour structure, this high up here around 30,400 is still the lower high, still the market structure point that we would have to break in order to break this downtrend. So locally, this is kind of the market structure that is going on, and maybe you can look at a few different scenarios here. Maybe we come up for a lower high, lower low, and then look to break market structure later, maybe making this the market structure point. Maybe we continue with some sort of local downtrend here. But what is more important is the higher term market structures. And, I've talked about this daily market structure before. Go to a cleaner chart here and mark this out because you can see that the daily market structure will not break until we take out this low right here. Or, like I said in one of my last videos, some people may consider this low the higher low in market structure on the daily because this high right here was an SFP of this high. I know some people don't count SFPs as market structure breaks, but I would still probably be more focused on this low considering price did put in a higher high here. Either way, we still have not broken the daily uptrend. And so when it comes to, higher term market structure, the first area I would be watching is these lows down here. Because, if we don't reach those lows, we could still just do something like this and go on to put in a higher high. And I'm sure that would catch a lot of people off guard. I know a lot of people are more bearish now considering the lower time frame market structure breaks. But on the daily, we could just be making a higher low, higher high here. And even if we do lose these levels, if we start to close down below there, there is still more significant market structure on a higher time frame. When you go to the weekly, we are in a local uptrend on the weekly, and the last higher low is down here. So we could come all the way back down to 20K, 19, 18K even, and still put in a higher low. And also on the weekly, we have broken the more macro downtrend that we were in by taking out this last lower high, closing well above it, and we are consolidating above this high. So the more you zoom out, the less bearish things become, in my opinion. And really, I'm just looking at this market structure as more of context. I don't trade any of this stuff. I'm not really a swing trader. If I can hold a trade that I took for a long time, like let's say I took some kind of scalp long down here and it ends up running, okay, great. Well, now I'm in a swing trade, but I don't really focus on trying to get into swing trades. I'm much more of a day trader / scalper, but I do pay attention to more macro context to build somewhat of a bias. And right now, my bias, I'd say like locally, kind of in the midterm, would be, I would prioritize shorts because we have, broken this 4-hour uptrend and begun, a 4-hour downtrend, or whatever time frame you want to call it, 6-hour, doesn't matter. Very locally, we are in a downtrend. And I would definitely become more bearish if we were to lose these lows down here. Now, right now, we are back inside of this old range over here. Right now, we are sitting right around the point of control of this range. We do have the value area low of the range right below us. Even though the price action has been very wonky the past couple days, there have been a lot of decent opportunities for trades. There have been a lot of SFPs to the downside, and I did trade a few of them. It wasn't the best trading over the last few days because I wasn't really as present at the computer. When this kind of stuff is happening, it makes it harder to sit at the computer and really focus on trading because who knows what's going to go on here. But when I got my alerts for some of these SFPs, I did take a few of them. And since I wasn't at my computer, I think I got a trash entry on that one. So that one ended up being like a break even, maybe a small win. And I ended up getting stopped out of one for a loss. I think it was this one. So other than that, I really haven't been doing much trading during this period of price action. But we now are seemingly forming some kind of a range here. And this is definitely price action that I am willing to trade. I much prefer trading ranges over trading, that downtrend slop that we had beforehand. And I did take a few pretty good trades inside of this. So this first trade, this was before we had established a range here. We basically just came down to put in a new low right here and put in a high up here. So I had this high marked out. I was looking for a potential SFP of it, and we did get that. The only confirmation I saw for this one was the 3-minute divergence, but I was more so looking at the reaction of the wick, and we did get a very nice reaction. Price immediately came down and closed pretty well below the level. This is the kind of reaction I like to look for an SFP, as opposed to like if we had just kind of came down and closed like really close to the level. That does not give me that much confidence in it, but when you see, a decent reaction here and price closing decently below that level, like, almost 0.2% down below, 0.17 below that wick, that was enough confirmation for the SFP for me. And we did form an area of inefficient price action on the way up here, so I did have a target. I was looking for this inefficiency to get filled. And it did, we came down and hit that level almost perfectly to the dollar. And so I TP'd here, and I also took a long at this level. So the reason for the long was, while we did have what, some would call a 3-minute order block here, my pleb definition of an order block is more like this one, where we had a purple candle in between two blues, and then the blue candle to the right broke structure. That is more so what I look for order blocks. Now, If you were marking out this pleb order block like I did, then you would have gotten front ran here. Now, why did that happen? Well, because when you go to the 3-minute time frame, you see that this high was a bit higher. And this is the wick that we, tapped off of basically to the dollar. But I am learning. I was aware of this, and so I had my TP set right above that 3-minute wick because, looking at the 3-minute, that is where the inefficiency filled. So that is the logical TP, and that just so happened to be exactly where we bounced from. So yeah, those were a few decent scalp trades I took around Asia session last night. And since then, I have only taken one trade, which would be this long right down here. Very simply, I was looking for a price to come down to the golden pocket and the value area low, and I was looking for divergences. And now that I'm kind of looking at this, it seems like that last push to the downside did bring momentum down a decent bit. Yeah, I entered right here. Price came down a little bit more to kind of stop out the people that had aggressive stops here. I kind of left my stop a little bit deeper down below this wick over here. And so this last push to the downside did bring momentum down a good bit. We had better divergences right here. Either way, though, you do still see divergence with money flow as price put in that lower low. Money flow was increasing. Momentum was increasing slightly. And we are just trading the range at the moment, so it would make sense that if we see divergences at the value area low, that we may expect to move up towards at least the point of control, potentially the value area high, or around the highs of the range. And I have a feeling that this is probably what I'm going to be looking at for the rest of the day. Is just kind of a range. Maybe we, get a move up towards like some of this previous support and trade in a larger range here. But I would expect us to probably continue ranging here after, such a weird move to the downside. And I do have a few other trade ideas marked out. So, up here there's an area of confluence around the highs of the range that I'm looking at. I'm sorry I can't talk about this green level because it's a Jason Casper VIP Discord strategy. This isn't a level that anyone marked out specifically, but I am using someone else's strategy to get this level. And so I'm sorry if you're not in the VIP Discord, then you probably won't know what I'm talking about. But if you are, then, let's just say 5-minute fix it Felix. That's all I'll say about that. But we did front run this level right here, so we could potentially SFP this, very local high into that level, and maybe look for a tap off the daily open as well. If we see something like that and we begin to lose this level, then that's pretty much what I'm looking for this. And it's a decent R if you're just targeting the point of control down here. Also, I'd be looking for SFPs of the highs. And I may even be looking at this high specifically because we could SFP this into the previous day value area low. But if we don't do that, if we end up coming up for this high, I will be watching that as well. And those are pretty much my local trade ideas in here. I'd also be watching the low down here. I have this wick marked out. It is right above the previous range point of control. So if you zoom out, I'm talking about this range back here, the point of control of this range. And if we are going to take out this low again, then I think I would prefer to see a move down past these lows. I don't know how good I would feel about just an SFP like this because we may kind of just do something like we've been seeing where we just get a little reaction and then we die off and go lower. And if we keep getting a move to the upside, this area right here does interest me. We have an NDPOC and the previous day value area high. Both of these are yesterday's levels. If you turn on the SVP, this is the highs of yesterday's value area, and we do now have a golden pocket lining up very perfectly with that NDPOC. I guess I marked this out on a different time frame, so I might want to just move this down just in case. But yeah, this zone to the upside is probably the area I am most interested in locally, if we kind of break out of this local range. And then, I mean, after that, if we keep pumping up and if we break this high up here, you know, like I said, I think this is an easy fill. So there's still a chance that, you know, we just kind of come up and stop out all these shorts that built up in this area. So yeah, those are pretty much my trade ideas at the moment. And yeah, other than that, I will see you all in the next video.